All right, welcome back to another edition of the Clemson Sports Show, joined by our special guest, Eric Mac Lain, to help us break down the Clemson Tigers and this past weekend's game against Syracuse and look ahead to a big showdown Saturday at Pitt. So, Eric, thanks for joining us. How's everything going?
Yeah, brother, thanks for having me. Another great weekend of ACC football ahead of us, and really the marquee matchup, man. The Tigers heading to the Steel City for the first time ever to play this Pittsburgh team that, man, has one of the best offenses in the country. I think the best offense in this conference, and the best quarterback in this conference in Kenny Pickett. So a really big challenge for the Tigers this week as they take on Pitt.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to being there and providing some coverage. I hope y'all follow along at ClemsonSports.com. We'll have tons of coverage from the game leading up to it as well. So before we get into that, Eric, let's look back at the Syracuse game last Friday. Just, man, it wasn't easy once again, but Clemson finds a way to win. I guess if you're playing these ugly games, it's still better to win them than to lose them for sure. But just some overall thoughts on that game and kind of what you saw from both teams.
Yeah, really, it was so interesting, Matt. And I think, honestly, what's something that has been, a little more frustrating for Clemson fans this year is there'll be flashes of what we know this offense can look like and flashes of, really greatness. But then what comes along with it is guys not being on the same page, a lack of execution, and bad plays happening. And offensively, it's something that, again, just frustrates you because you see these great plays by DJ. You see, probably the first time that he's thrown the ball with touch, got some air under it, comes down with a big, reception there. We saw them go under center, which I was really appreciative of. And all these different things happen. But then I thought it was the offensive line's worst game. A lot of guys just not following their assignment, not communicating, and then just physically, getting whipped by a couple of different guys throughout the game. So thought that those guys really need to step up, especially this week against Pitt. And then defensively, doing enough. A second half that, really shutting down Sean Tucker, who I think is the best running back in the country. He's just so dynamic, the things that he can do to you. Clemson had a really good plan in the second half of containing him and, got lucky on a couple of bad passes by Schrader. I mean, there were guys open and he just couldn't hit them. So Clemson did enough to sneak out with a win. And, man, it's always better to learn losses in a victory than in a loss. So a good job by Clemson making that happen.
One thing I thought was interesting with the offensive line is, when Hunter Rayburn we find out that he's not going to play. And now Mason Trotter is making his first start. Obviously a huge situation for him on the road. Man, that's, where I thought if Clemson's offensive line was going to struggle, I thought it was going to be him that really struggled and would have the biggest trouble. But honestly, I thought other than obviously the one bad snap, I thought he did a pretty nice job. But some other guys on the offensive line, I felt like maybe didn't pull their weight. But just what were kind of your thoughts on Trotter and the way?
Yeah, man, was super excited to see the way he played. I mean, was super smart, was making the right calls, was very impressed to see, because like you, thought that might be a point that Syracuse trying to take advantage of and try to just, have a head up nose and really go after him all night long. But he played great. He really did. And we've heard that from Clemson for so long now that he cerebrally, he's a fantastic player, just not the most physically, dominating or large player. So I think that would show signs of a little bit struggle here and there, but really impressed with his performance all night long. So it was great to see, great to know that option is there for Clemson if needed. Clearly it was this Friday night, but it will be interesting, moving forward with whatever final five they feel the most comfortable with. What does that look like if there's a potential postseason run here?
For sure, yeah. And Rayburn's going to be out this weekend as well. So another big opportunity for Trotter and really for that whole offensive line to see if they can bounce back after what you call their worst performance of the year. And I would tend to agree with you. So, yeah, let's dig into a few of these plays and kind of look at the good and bad from the game. Let's start, if you want to follow along with this, 7:15 in the first quarter, 2nd and 10. And you've got a screen pass thrown out here to Davis Allen, and it just doesn't go well with the blocking. Just what do you see on this play, Eric?
Yeah, well, really, when you see this and what they're trying to do, what they're able to do, is just block on the edge. And a Joe there just totally whiffs, totally misses a guy, and Davis Allen gets killed. I mean, this is a routine play for Clemson, whether it be to the tight end, whether it be to the wide receiver. They want to run this type of play. And guys all year long on the perimeter just haven't been as aggressive, haven't been as effective blocking like normal. And what we come to expect from the Tigers, this honestly is just effort and knowing what you're doing. Joe looks like he's looking back for some reason at the play. Worry about your assignment, worry about your job, and this would end up probably being a little bit of a bigger play.
Yeah, and he said, talking to him this week, he said he turned around to try to see, I guess, where the running back was, or I guess the tight end, I'm sorry, but where the ball carrier was going, and wanted to try to set up his block based on what happened there. And like you said, that's not the way to do it. Just worry about your play. And another thing, if you watch this play that wasn't good is Justin Ross. Even if Joe makes his block, it's going to be hard for Justin Ross to make his. And so, it's going to be a better play than it was. Like you mentioned, at least you're getting some game, but Justin Ross also kind of whiffs as well. So
yeah, and Matt, it's just so interesting to see because Clemson has been really good at this for so long. They've been great at just getting after guys in space and taking pride in blocking. And just right now, for whatever reason, that's not been the case, and it's hurt them a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's look ahead. Later in the first quarter, towards the end of the first quarter, 3:41 left. You got Tyson Pumachan coming in. And we haven't seen a ton of him this year. Obviously, I know a lot of fans have called for it, but we haven't seen much of him. But he comes in, gets an opportunity, a little wrinkle. But they've got DJ out at receiver, Tyson in taking the snap. And yeah, he picks up a couple yards, but looks like the play has a chance for a little more. Just kind of, what do you see on this one?
Yeah, and this is tough. And we've seen it when Clemson will bring someone else in, trying to get a spark, trying to get something going. And it just, imagine the pressure on that young man, whether it was Will Taylor a little bit earlier or
Sure.
Now with Tyson and getting their chance. They feel like, okay, I have to make something happen instead of just doing what is the offense, following the play, following your reads, trusting your read. This is a clear give here. You're looking at the defensive end straight all the way in the face. Now he does get past him, but just look at all the open space in front of the running back. If he hands this off like he's supposed to, it's even more evident on the back view. If fans, if you have any access to that and can just see it, the hole is wide open, and the running back is running for days, for sure, a first down, maybe even getting more than that. And so it's unfortunate when you do get your time. Trust what you have done. Trust your play call. Trust your read and what you see. And, don't put that pressure on yourself. But a clear read here by Tyson and, just give that ball, and it's a much different story. And maybe that gives the coaches more confidence that he can handle more opportunity, more plays. When I see this, I'm like, okay, the guy's not ready for this moment.
Yeah, and the offensive line really on the right side does a pretty nice job over there. I mean, there's a nice hole. Will Putnam, Walker Parks doing a nice job on display of opening up a big rushing lane if he's able to. So, yeah, missed opportunity there, and there were several in this game. Let's move ahead a little bit to 2:41 in the first quarter. It's a 3rd and 1. Man, this to me was probably one of the worst plays of the game. Just it's 3rd and 1, critical point, still scoreless at this point. And this offensive line just gets completely swallowed up. Miscommunication, just all kinds of things go wrong here. Take us through it.
Yeah, Matt, this is a really just kind of a great summary of Clemson's season, if you will, when you see what is happening, when you see what Clemson is really faced with in a bunch of different phases. Number one, I don't love the play call. It's 3rd and 1, and we're pulling guys. We're trying to do a little bit of a quarterback power. I don't love that. I wish there was more of just a straight ahead bully ball type mentality. Everybody say, hey, we're going board drill right here, and we're going to do what it takes to win this game. And then just a total miscommunication on the right-hand side. There's a clear head-up nose. There's a clear 3 technique on the left side. That's calling everybody to come down. And it looks as though on the left side that was very well communicated. And the right, it's not. And those guys aren't touching anybody. 2 total whiffs by the right guard and the right tackle, where essentially you have a nose guard who's blowing up the play, blowing up the pool, gives the running back nowhere to go. And then a 3 technique who is untouched, and it equals a tackle for loss on 3rd and 1. And so you can't do that. even if that communication wasn't given down the line, as a player, as a guard on the right side, you should be able to see that. It's right there in front of you. You would hope that guys who have been there, done that, would be able to see that and then take care of it on themselves on the right side. But Matt, it just doesn't happen, and the play gets absolutely blown up.
Yeah, and there's been, several times this year where it seems like a pulling guard hasn't gone great. I mean, I think the shovel pass, and I know that that's a play Marcus State needed to make, but early on in the year, you had the shovel pass where that didn't work. I think back to a play against NC State that was just completely blown up on a 2nd and 1, where you had a pulling guard and no one picked them up. So, I mean, I think, there are times when it's worked okay. The offensive line is communicated well and done what it needs to. But there have been other times this year where maybe it gets a little too, and I know it's pretty basic stuff, but maybe just doing a little too much instead of just lining up and putting a hat on a hat and trying to pick up a first down.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Sometimes that's all you need. But all right, so we've shown a little negative. We've shown some bad plays. There were some good. We talked about the flashes and we talked about good things that happened. We're going to move along now to the second quarter. About 11 minutes, 19 left. It's 2nd and 14. And really what you want to watch on this play is the edge. And, Coach Sweeney has talked about it numerous times. We spoke about it early and often here. The edge blocking has been horrific, but on this play, it's great. And so that's what's so head-scratching is we've seen them do it. We've seen these flashes of guys who understand their assignment, go after the play, make it happen. And you've got a swing pass here. You've got Justin Ross just really bullying a guy, blowing him off the line of scrimmage, getting him out of the way, and then a running back that does the rest. And so these are the things that I guarantee people are frustrated about, Matt, is it's, okay, I've seen you do it. I know you can do it. Why can't you do it every play in the standard that has been set? That's the expectation. And, man, for whatever reason they can't, but really a very well executed play, a great play call, and then just a running back who can make something even better than what it should be, picking up, right at a first down here. Very impressive to see.
Yeah, and with Justin, it's funny. We talked earlier about Joe just turning around and looking and trying to see what to do. Right here, you see a perfect example of why you don't do that, and it's because Phil Moffitt does a great job of reading Justin's block. He sees it, he pushes the guy outside, cuts back in, does a great job there. Does a nice job of getting downhill, picking up yards. I thought they ran this play several times Friday, and it worked each time. I mean, I thought it really was a nice little wrinkle that they had. That bringing the running back from the other side instead of just going out, you kind of bring them from the left side and hit them running out on the wide side over there. So
and really, Matt, you ask, okay, why do we do that? Why wouldn't we get our running back in space? Well, what you're doing is you're allowing all that traffic. So when the running back is on the left side, the guy that's going to have him man-to-man, if they are in man-to-man, is going to be on the left side. Now he has to run through all that traffic across the play. And so it's really a great design. They did it with the running backs a handful of times. They did it with the tight end. It's a very nice wrinkle that Clemson has added that, had great success against Syracuse. Now you start thinking, okay, when we get our guy back and Shipley, who is, even more explosive and probably a little bit more quick twitch, how fun is that now going to be, for him? This next play, Matt, man, it gets me juiced up. It gets me excited as an offensive lineman, as kind of a guy that loves to see this power football. It's 2nd and short, and Clemson did this a lot in this game. I hope we see this more and more. Short yardage, they go under center. It's amazing to see. It's another great wrinkle because you're just getting everybody downhill. There's no delay. There's no hesitation. There's no, okay, I've got to start up and get cranked. This running back is screaming downhill, does a great pickup for 6, 7, 8, almost 9 yards. And it's just great. It's great to see the physicality up front, not having to pull, not having to move. Just let's go forward and dominate the guy in front of us. I hope that Clemson will run this more and more because it really was a bright spot. I would say almost any time they got under center in this game, it was a positive play. It was positive yards, and really hopefully something that Clemson will adapt and continue to put into their offense.
Yeah, I think they will. And the coaching staff talks about that, and DJ did as well, just as far as, they want to expand upon this. And there's a lot more that they can do off of it than just this, maybe some play action type stuff down the road.
Exactly. So, that's the big thing is the play. I mean, think about how much more effective a play action is when you completely have your back to the defense. I mean, I know that's a little bit scary sounding if you're a quarterback, but it truly is selling the run instead of when you're in shotgun and your shoulders are square, you're looking downfield. It's going to be less, I guess, just hiding it. Defenses are going to expect that play action, but when you're totally turned around, handing that ball off or faking that handoff, guys are going to scoot up. Guys are going to take a run first step, and that can just open up so many more things. And especially with a guy like DJ, who I think we can all sit here and say he's a pocket passer. He's a guy that is a pro-style quarterback and looks very comfortable in these type of things. It just makes sense for Clemson to adopt more of those schemes, and great for them doing so, so far.
Yeah, and hey, we've came a long ways from not being able to go under center against
that's right,
Georgia Tech and picking up a quarterback sneak.
Are you kidding me, man? What are we doing?
So yeah, a lot of progress here over the past few weeks there. I was trying to think back. Like, I can't remember the last time seeing Clemson go under center that often. Like,
probably before you and I's time, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I was thinking y'all didn't do that when you were there, did you?
I called for it in an ACC championship, and I can't remember. I don't know if Deshaun fumbled the snap or bobbled the snap, but it was not a great locker room feeling once we got in there to talk about that.
Yeah, sorry for bringing that up. I apologize. But yeah, it's definitely been a while. But man, I'm with you. I mean, it really, not only that play, but there were several plays where you could just see the confidence, the offensive line. I'm sure loved it, as you mentioned. So interested to see if we see some more of that this weekend at Pitt. And speaking of that game, let's dive in a little bit. Just, man, what are some of the keys to the game from your perspective of just trying to go up there and get a win?
Yeah, man. If you're going to get a victory, if you're Clemson, turnovers are your friend on defense. Kenny Pickett has not turned the ball over. He only has one interception. Had 4 against Clemson a year ago. So can we disguise things if we're Clemson? Can we, as a defense, show things differently in coverage? Because he's a different player. Kenny is honestly made so many great strides. It's hard to imagine anyone else doing something similar with what he has been able to do as a player. And so now, defensively, a lot is going to be on you in this game. You have to create that short field for your offense. You have to limit Pitt, who's scoring 52 a clip, the best offense in the ACC. And so matchups are going to be important. You have to respect Kenny's running ability. He is so elusive, but we saw a week ago Virginia Tech throw a lot of games and a lot of stunts at this veteran, solid offensive line at Pittsburgh. And honestly, they struggled with it a little bit, Matt. So I've just got to think that Clemson is going to see that. Clemson is confident in their defensive line and linebackers to, replicate that and do things similar to give Pittsburgh trouble. And that'll be an interesting thing to pay attention to. Andrew Booth, if he's fully healthy and ready to go, I think can, make himself even more money in this game. A guy who is already, I think the top corner in this draft, if not one, then two, and a potential top 10 pick. So he can really make himself a lot of money this weekend. And then offensively, you've got to score. You've got to score points. I think 28 would be enough if you can get to that number. But just continuing to grow, continuing to put things together, and have that aha moment of, okay, this is what we can do. We figure it out. We have confidence. So not sure if that necessarily will be this weekend. We saw the flashes. If we can get more of the flashes, less of the disaster plays, clearly Clemson will be in a good spot. But it's going to be tough going to the Steel City and getting out with a win there.
Yeah, I'm with you. And, you look at Jordan Addison, the Pitt star receiver. Man, he's good. And I mean, he's got 9 touchdowns by himself this year. And DJ Uyunglele has 4 touchdowns passes on the year, just the quarterback. So, man, he's good. It's not just him. Max, really good. Jaron Wayne. I mean, it seems like they have
Lucas Kroll, which Clemson, historically struggles with good tight end play.
Right.
It's going to be a very interesting matchup. I will say this. I mean, we've spoken about a lot how this is the best offense Clemson has played. This is by far the best defense that Pitt has played. So It's good on good. It's iron sharpens iron. And it's going to be a really fun matchup when both those sides of the ball are on the field.
And I was going to ask you, how many points do you think? I heard you say 28 you think will get it done. We'll see if Clemson can get there. I mean, they haven't
so far
yet.
This year, but maybe this is it.
Not in regulation against an FBS team. So we'll have to see. Yeah. And And Dabo said several times this week, we're still Clemson. We still have the players. We have everything we need here. Yeah. So the talent's there. It's just putting it all together. We'll see if they're able to do it or not. Well, Eric, anything else you want to add? Any other thoughts kind of on the ACC or about?
Yeah,
Clemson
man,
right now?
it's a fun year for the ACC. A lot of chaos. I mean, the league essentially on its head right now with favorites that we thought, going to win both of their divisions. Miami and UNC well at the bottom. Clemson kind of, floating in the upper echelon of the Atlantic, and surely still has an opportunity. They just need help, right, which is never an uncomfortable situation to be in. When you're not in the driver's seat, it's a weird feeling. But man, what a fun season it's been from the ACC total and big time perspective. And get some good food while you're up in Pittsburgh, man. There's some great things up there. Some good Italian food, a couple of steakhouses. You've got to figure it out when you're up there. Yeah,
I'll have to check that out. And man, I need you to stop by. That'd be good if you could stop by the board and maybe post some suggestions. We had some people asking about Pittsburgh, so kind of suggestions for there. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Like I said, encourage y'all to come check out ClemsonSports.com. Check out our message board. The Tigers Den. Eric will be hanging out there some. Just continue to follow all of our work. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're everywhere. And subscribe. We still have a great deal going on. $10 for a year of access or $1 for 4 months. So encourage y'all to come check it out and follow along. Should be a fun one this weekend. Thank y'all for having us. We'll talk to you next time.